What is up, Earthnoids, Spacenoids, and Jovians? I am just a simple new type, and in this video we're concluding Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam Steel 7. Last time, the space pirates went to Earth. Tobiah recruited the Death Gale team. They found that Icarus is called the Speed King, and is made out of the Mother Vanguard's mass. This time, the team will take on Callisto's Shadow. They all get new mobile suits, and they use the Speed King to head to Jupiter and go up against Callisto's Light. So let's get into this. Like on the moon, Tobiah is struggling to get a hit on Callisto's Shadow. He uses the scissor anchor on the Impulse Cornix. Giddy rushes in and attacks Shadow, but he unleashes the fin funnels on him. Minoru struggles to stop the L-Copty from pushing past him. Every time they attack the Jovian forces heading towards Icarus, Callisto's Shadow attacks from behind. The Jovians are getting close to the Speed King. They only need to moderately damage it to destroy their entire plan. Bernadette comes in asking for Europa's help as enemies approach them. Burns is getting impatient, so he takes one of the Federation's James guns. The RGM-119 James gun is the successor to the heavy gun. This unit follows the same basic concepts as the Jagan. Many of the components of this unit can be used by the Javelin, and the two units are considered brothers. This unit will be a mainstay all the way up until the UC-150s. Weapons include Vulcans, a beam shield, a beam saber, a beam rifle, a beam bazooka, and a hook shield, which is a tool designed to capture space debris. Rosemary is in the cockpit trying to get the Speed King up and running when Europa comes in to help. They put a Jupiter OS on the ship, but it won't work. As Tobiah and Shadow fight, the Jovian spouts his nonsense about being a higher status than everyone, but Tobiah grounds him by saying they are no different. Then, this happens. Oh my god, what is happening on this page? It's like a noise fest. Meanwhile, Harrison and his team are able to take out the enemy ships. He says that failing seems to be a part of the Jovians' plan. Tobiah is tired, but he knows that the Cornix doesn't have any more of its feather funnels. The L-Copty rushes towards the Speed King and attempts to self-destruct on the unit. That is when Derek comes in piloting a James gun. He tackles the L-Copty. Tobiah is catching on to Shadow's pattern of attack. He uses the I-field generator in his hands and is able to stop the Cornix's attack. Tobiah is starting to get the upper hand. Hey, the Vulcans come out of the skull on the chest. That is neat. Tobiah slices off the right arm of the Cornix. He has no time to worry about whether or not Icarus is still good. He needs to take down Shadow. The Shadow tells him that Europa has been killed and Icarus destroyed. Tobiah goes in for the final attack, but Giddy and Minoru get the final hit. They're still alive and shoot at the Cornix. As Callisto's Shadow goes down, he is happy that their plan has been ruined, but suddenly he gets a glimpse of Europa. He is still alive, along with the Speed King. Europa thought about herself dying, and Shadow thought it was reality. Like the brothers did to her, so too did Europa lie to her brothers. He dies in the most dramatic pose possible. It took 3 of them to take him down, and they all barely made it out alive. The 3 don't know the truth. They rush back to the team to learn that they aren't dead. Europa said she didn't die. For a moment, right before Derek saved the team, she genuinely thought her life was done for. Tobiah and Bernadette embrace. They don't have time to waste. They must get to Jupiter. Meanwhile, Callisto Shadow's body is dead, but his soul continues to exist. He is transferred to the giant BioBrain pod. I assume this is the Amado BioBrain computers that escaped during Skull Heart. Callisto's Shadow continues existing as a BioBrain computer. Light welcomes Shadow back. The 2 of them will continue their reign. At the beginning of Skull Heart, we started with a framing device of Stella telling a story about Crossbone Vanguard. We learned that we have been listening to her story this whole time. The war that ended 3 years ago apparently still wasn't over, as people are carrying out Crux Dogati's final project, Operation Thunderbolt Zeus. Tobias says his farewells to Bernadette. Harrison won't be joining them on their journey. He is going to convince the Federation higher-ups to prepare for evacuation procedures in major cities. He tells them to survive. They head back to the Little Gray. Yona is in a wheelchair and is no longer in critical condition. She gives Tobias' ass a nice smack. Omna apologizes to Europa for thinking that she is a spy. She proceeds to punch her in the uterus. They want Europa to be their commander for the attack team. If she was able to trick Callisto's Shadow, they could do the same with Callisto's Light. They still need one more person. Derek wants to go and knows this is his purpose. He is finally taking action. He will be the pilot of the F-91 since he was an F-99 pilot. Uman is mad because he already put Minoru's M logo on the F-91. Derek says he could just go by his first name, Michelle. The Death Gale team laughs at him.
Thought I heard a girl's name.
Before leaving Earth, Tobiah and Bernadette have a moment together. They look out at the Grand Canyon, where Callisto's Shadow's Cornix is still posed in a dramatic way. She has decided to head back to Jupiter and help rebuild the nation after Tobiah helps take it down. She is going on a regular Jupitrix-class ship. When she gets there, if all things go well on Tobiah's end, then Europa's faction on Jupiter will try to stabilize things. This will be their final goodbye, and she is returning to being called Tetana. He doesn't want her to leave, but he can't stay on Jupiter as a space pirate. Uman shows Tobiah his upgraded mobile suit, the Full Cloth. The X-1 Crossbone Gundam X-1 Full Cloth is an upgraded version of Patchwork. The Full Cloth unit has a bunch of shelf nozzles and is closer to a high-speed booster than a suit of armor. This allows for the unit's insane speed. The remaining anti-beam cloths were stitched together to create Crossbone Gundam's final anti-beam coating, making its eye fields not necessary for many attacks. Of course, it still has the 2 eye field generators on the hands and can be activated continuously, truly making this unit near impenetrable, and can take on an entire army on its own. Weapons include Vulcans, a Mega Machine Cannon, a Beam Saber, a Heat Dagger, the Muramasa Blaster, and the Peacock Smasher. The Scissor Anchor will play a vital role in winning the battle against Jupiter. Everything has been put into this unit. He thinks about Bernadette and what Bear once told him about Kincaid. He goes to Bernadette and tells her that he is going to find a way to be with her no matter what. He says, "Look into my eyes! Look into them!" And then he proceeds to kiss her. The attack team will consist of the Death Gale team. Burns will be piloting the Baya Tortuga. The Baya Tortuga is a rebuilt version of Burns' original Tortuga that SNRI modified. This is for the most part the same as the original Tortuga. The only difference is the hammer hands have been replaced with a 2-barrel beam cannon on its hand. It retains the fast hardening gas emitters, beam shield, and beam gun. Rosemary Raspberry will pilot the Aranya Abijo. The Aranya Abijo is the fusion of the Aranya and the Abijo rebuilt by SNRI with leftover parts. It has the head of the Abijo and the body of the Aranya. There are added fin nozzles, and this thing is a speed demon, but its armor is quite weak. Weapons include 2 beam cannons. Giddy will pilot the Vagina 2. The XM-07B Vignagina 2 is an improved version of the Vignagina where its fin nozzles have been replaced with the superior shelf nozzles, which were standard in the UC-130s. The shoulder fins help with cooling similar to the F-91's design. This is an older model by today's standards and might possibly be Dorel Rona's old unit. It has the same beam saber, shot lancer, and beam flag emitter, but the beam shield output is higher. Team B will consist of Minoru piloting the F-90 Intercept type Jupiter battle spec, and Derek in the F-91 Jupiter battle spec. The F-90I Gundam F-90 Intercept type Jupiter battle spec is a modified version of F-90 Unit 1, originally piloted by Def Stallion and is equipped with an Intercept type mission pack. This version replaces the beam lancers with the shot lancer. It can equip 5 nuclear warheads at a time. Other weapons include a beam saber, a flight shield, which is a shield that functions as a subflight system, and Vulcans. The F-91 Gundam F-91 Jupiter battle spec is a modified F-91 supplied by Harrison's team. Many of the features for the mass production variant were restored to this version and is closer to Seabook's F-91 from UC-123. This includes the same weapons as the F-91, including the variable speed rifle. Tobiah will focus on close combat, and Europa will command from an Angel Diona manning the Speed King. The Angel Diona is an improved variant of the Diona. Many parts were replaced with parts from the Aranya, making this unit even lighter than usual. As this unit is a support mobile suit, it is equipped with a weapons container. It is designed to resupply units on the battlefield. It will also be equipped with the Speed King to transport the team to Jupiter. The name of this operation is Steel 7. The team takes off for Jupiter. 1 week later, Jupiter's forces are preparing the colony laser and their army. 20 minutes until the laser is activated. The Speed King approaches the Jupiter sphere. Tobiah and Europa will assume identities on Jupiter after all this is over. Tobiah will take the name of Europa's former lover, Curtis. That's a little weird, man. You shouldn't introduce weird thoughts before a big battle. The Steel 7 team attacks. They break through the first formation of the battalions. Callisto's light suddenly hears Europa's thoughts saying that he can't win. She has a psychofield dampener in her cockpit, which blocks light from reading her thoughts. But she can flip a switch and let him read her thoughts, so she can implant fleeting memories. The team brought the nozzle with them, and Rosemary rides it into battle. She says that she will marry whoever comes out alive from all of this. Europa finds an opening in the Jovians formation. She blitzes towards the colony laser and flings Icarus towards the giant weapon. That is when 2 hands crush Icarus and prevent it from ramming into the colony laser. Callisto's light says, "Meet my fists, freedom and justice." The Dick Kiss is Jupiter's most powerful transformable mobile suit. The mobile armor form looks like hands and has incredible crushing power. It has fin funnels and one of the most powerful eye field generators seen to date. But the back of the mobile armor is not protected by the eye field, leaving a weak spot. Weapons include a mega particle cannon on the thumbs, a beam claw, a beam gun, and a giant beam axe. The hands transform into 2 mobile suits. Piloting Justice is light, and piloting Freedom is the bio-brain computer of Callisto's shadow. The Callistos rush towards the Death Gale team and unleashes their funnels. Burns steps in and fights, telling Giddy to head towards the laser. The Callistos transform into hands and the two crush the Tortuga, killing Burns. Minoru and Tobiah rushes towards the colony laser. Giddy doesn't leave and fights against his former rival. One thing all the Steel 7 mobile suits are equipped with is nuclear weapons. They unload their nukes. Battalions fire countermeasures and stop the missiles. They have to reload and try again, but they only have 4 minutes until they fire the laser. Giddy's vagina is barely hanging in there. That is when he rushes towards the colony in an attempt to kamikaze. The Callistos fire on Giddy. When Burns comes out of nowhere, he is still alive and takes the brunt of the attack, blowing up in the process. Okay, now he is definitely dead. 10 seconds left. Giddy rushes in and blows up right as the colony laser fires. It was too late. However, one Jovian informs Callisto that Giddy knocked the alignment off and the attack won't hit Earth. Callisto wants to fire again, but if they don't wait for the cooldown, the laser will collapse on itself upon firing. He doesn't seem to care anymore. They all regroup around Minoru and will fire a second volley of nukes. Rosemary is still alive, but her mobile suit is dead in the water. Europa comes to resupply Minoru when the Ditkus fires on them. He gets in close. Europa throws Tobiah an extra beam Zamber. They have a beam sword fight. Tobiah, having fought Shadow, is already learning Light's tactics quickly. The two fight with speeds that hasn't been seen in Mobile Suit before. It's like a Dragon Ball fight where they're moving fast and the human eye can't keep up. The mouth vent is open on the Gundam as the biocomputer is running at 100%. Full cloth is breaking apart at these speeds. He is sacrificing armor to keep up with Callisto. He needs to do this until Minoru is ready to fire on the colony. This was the plan from the beginning. He knew he wasn't coming back to Jupiter with Bernadette, even though he promised he would. A suicide mission like they all planned from the beginning. But Derek doesn't like this. He has to stay in formation, but he thinks of something quickly to help Tobiah. Europa has a similar idea as she rushes in. The full cloth's leg rips off. Callisto goes in for the attack when Europa stops him. Callisto's shadow attacks Minoru when Derek comes in to help, breaking formation. He realizes that the hands are being shielded by an eye field, but the back of the hands are completely vulnerable. She goes in and gets an attack on the Ditkus, but it fires a beam saber right through the F-91, killing Derek. While distracted, Minoru uses his new tactic and hits the vulnerable spot, killing Callisto's shadow. Again, Light is distracted by his brother's death. Tobiah strikes with the beam Zamber. Crossbone Gundam's arm rips off. In one of the coolest moves in Gundam, Tobiah uses his only remaining weapon, the scissor anchor. He latches onto the beam Zamber that flew out of his arm and swings it towards the Ditkus, slicing it in half. Callisto is still alive and he runs away. They have 19 minutes until the colony laser fires again. Tobiah and Europa go to destroy the mirrors on the laser while Minoru holds back any remaining Jovian forces. The two enter into the center of the colony and destroy the mirrors. With 2 minutes remaining, the Jovians lose control of the colony laser. As the colony falls apart, Callisto's light comes in for one final attack. Tobiah takes off one of the shoulder skull eye fields and puts it on his hand. He does an eye field super punch on the Ditkus and finally kills Callisto's light. The colony is going up in flames and the full cloth can't move. Europa came on this mission because she wanted to atone for her sins of not speaking up against the Jupiter Empire. She grabs a hold of Crossbone Gundam and throws it to safety as the colony collapses, killing Europa in the process. As the colony falls apart, Europa's Jovian faction moves in and takes control of the remaining fleet. The Jovians throw down their arms. Minoru cries for his fallen comrades. He is old and on the verge of death and wonders why he was the only one to survive instead of the youth. Rosemary tells him that living is the only thing they could do now. The laser that fired missed Earth by 100 million kilometers. This was supposed to be a suicide mission, but out of the 7, 2 survived. Rosemary kept her promise. She said she would marry anyone who survived, so she and Minoru got married. He continues working for the military, and the two become liaisons for the Jupiter sphere. Rosemary wrote a book about the incident, but it was seen as more of an urban legend than a piece of history. Lieutenant Harrison was kicked out of the military, but not before the Federation took his advice about the colony laser. The Federation now plans to move the Federation HQ to the moon, out of Jupiter's line of sight. Of course, the Federation's solution isn't to help the people of Earth, but to help themselves first and foremost. Harrison is now a part of Black Rose Shipping, who now has to take on normal shipping jobs now that they don't have Crossbone Gundam. There are no records of Bernadette or Tobiah. She returned to the Jupiter sphere and became the heir to the Dogati family and helped stabilize the empire. One day, a man approaches Tetaneth asking for a job. He comes to find the girl that he left behind. Perhaps one day he will find her. The man goes by Curtis Rothko. He's essentially doing the same thing Kincaid did when he changed his name. He takes off his glasses to show his eyes to Tetaneth. She is saddened. It seems that the colony laser completely blinded him. She offers him a job. Stella finishes her story by saying that there was always a mysterious man who never left Tetaneth's side. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam Steel 7. This is such a fun story that focuses on high concept. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is that it all took place under 2 weeks. It works for the story that it is telling. This is always the biggest problem with late UC, as it works best in broad strokes. The moment someone comes in and start writing more technical and nuanced lore, things are going to fall apart. This is why there is such a disconnect between early and late Universal Century. Tobiah is probably one of the most fearless Mobile Suit pilots that we have seen. He rarely backs down and always moves forward. Suck it, Suletta. Next time, we are heading to UC 153. But before we begin our coverage of Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam Ghost, we are finally beginning our coverage of Mobile Suit Victory Gundam. We will learn of the Zanskare Empire and the Resistance Force Ligue Militaire. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember to be more of a Chad like Tobiah. Peace.